Hey ladies, welcome back. Today, we're diving into one of the most underrated qualities in older men, the one thing 98% of younger women say instantly makes them more attractive. And no, it's not about a six-pack, flashy cars, or a corner office. In fact, most people completely miss this subtle, almost invisible trait, but trust me, once you notice it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. Older men with this quality have a quiet way of making you feel safe, understood, and genuinely seen, something younger men often struggle with. And that's exactly why this trait is a game changer in dating. So if you've ever wondered why some older men just get it in ways younger guys don't, or why you feel an instant sense of calm and respect around certain men, you're about to find out. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand what makes this quality rare, powerful, and seriously irresistible. Let's be real for a second. Dating can be confusing, especially when age differences are involved. Younger women are often drawn to older men for reasons that don't always make sense on the surface. You might notice yourself feeling more comfortable, more relaxed, or more respected with a man who's older, and yet, you can't quite put your finger on why. Here's the thing. Most people assume attraction is all about looks, charisma, or status. But there's so much happening below the surface. Subtle behaviors, small gestures, and unspoken ways of showing respect that really make a difference. Older men often excel in these areas, but it's easy to overlook them because they're not loud or flashy. Think about it. You've probably dated or met younger men who were exciting at first, but somehow left you feeling drained, anxious, or misunderstood. Meanwhile, older men with this underrated quality have a way of grounding a relationship emotionally. They're consistent, calm, and intentional in ways that younger men sometimes aren't, and that consistency creates trust and emotional safety. And this isn't just anecdotal. Psychologists have found that emotional intelligence, patience, and life experience are among the top factors that make someone feel truly valued in a relationship. The problem is, most younger women don't even realize they're looking for these traits until they meet someone who actually has them. And once you notice it, you start spotting it everywhere, and it changes your dating standards almost immediately. So if you've ever felt frustrated by dating younger men or found yourself inexplicably drawn to older men, it's not a coincidence. There's a subtle, powerful quality at play, and recognizing it can completely shift your dating perspective. Before we dive into the list, a quick disclaimer. Not every older man has this quality, and certainly not every younger man lacks it. These are patterns we see consistently, not hard rules. Everyone is different, and chemistry is always unique to the individuals involved. That being said, there are a few key behaviors that consistently appear in older men who embody this underrated trait, the kind of men who make younger women feel calm, understood, and respected without even trying. These behaviors aren't about grand gestures or showy actions. They're subtle, quiet, and often almost invisible to the untrained eye. So, what is this quality? It's emotional stability. It's the ability to manage their own emotions, remain calm under pressure, and approach relationships with maturity and intentionality. And it's exactly this stability that makes younger women feel safe and cared for in a way they might not have experienced before. Now, I'm going to break down 5 specific signs that older men possess this quality. These signs are observable in everyday interactions, and once you notice them, you'll see just how rare and valuable they truly are. Some might seem small, but in reality, they're powerful indicators of emotional intelligence, maturity, and genuine respect for others. So let's start. Here are the top 5 underrated qualities in older men that 98% of younger women say make them irresistible. The first and arguably most powerful underrated quality in older men is emotional stability. This isn't about being boring or distant. It's about having a calm, grounded presence that makes people around them feel safe, heard, and understood. If you've ever been around an older man who seems unshaken by life's little dramas, you've experienced this firsthand. Think about it. Younger men can often be reactive. They might overthink a text that wasn't answered quickly, get frustrated at minor disagreements, or show impulsive emotional reactions. Older men with this trait approach situations differently. When a challenge arises, they pause, assess, and respond thoughtfully rather than reacting immediately. That makes a massive difference in dating and relationships because emotional stability is essentially a magnet for women who want security and trust. Here's a scenario. Imagine you're out for dinner and a server messes up your order. A younger man might get annoyed, frown, or make an offhand complaint. An older man with emotional stability, he shrugs it off, smiles politely, and maybe even makes a light joke about it. Nothing about the moment feels tense or dramatic. And that calm presence has a surprisingly strong effect on the people around him. You don't just notice it, you feel it. Psychologically, this stability signals confidence, maturity, and life experience. It tells you he's faced challenges before and has learned how to navigate them without letting small things disrupt his mood or the people around him. That emotional intelligence is subtle, but incredibly attractive. It's not flashy, it's not boastful, but it makes you feel seen, safe, and respected, which is exactly what makes this trait underrated and powerful. Another reason emotional stability is so rare in dating is that it's hard to fake. Younger men might try to appear calm or chill, but true emotional stability comes from life experience and self-awareness, which can't be replicated overnight. When a man genuinely possesses this quality, it shows in countless small ways. The way he handles conflicts, the way he listens to your frustrations without judgment, or even the way he navigates social situations with ease. Now, what should you do if you notice this in someone? First, recognize it because awareness itself makes the quality even more magnetic. Second, appreciate it, openly or internally, because older men with this trait often notice when their calm and thoughtful demeanor is valued. And finally, consider it a key factor in your relationship evaluation. Emotional stability isn't just nice to have, it's foundational for trust, communication, and long-term compatibility. In short, emotional stability is subtle, quiet, and often overlooked, yet it has one of the strongest impacts on attraction. It's what separates men who are nice from men who are genuinely magnetic. And here's the kicker. Most younger women overlook it because it doesn't scream for attention. But once you notice it, you can't unsee it, and you'll start understanding why certain older men just feel different, in the best possible way. The second underrated quality in older men that younger women notice instantly is attentive listening. And no, this isn't just about nodding while you talk. It's a deeper, subtler form of engagement that shows genuine interest and respect. Older men who truly listen make you feel like your thoughts and feelings actually matter, which is rare in today's fast-paced dating world. Think about how conversations usually go with most people. Someone talks, and the other person is half listening while scrolling through their phone, thinking about what they're going to say next, or simply waiting for their turn to talk. It's exhausting and makes you feel invisible. Older men with this quality, they make you feel seen. They respond thoughtfully, remember details, and often follow up later with things you mentioned in passing, your favorite book, a small joke, or even how your week was going. Here's a quick example. Imagine you tell him about a stressful day at work. A younger man might say, "Yeah, that sucks," and move on. An older man with this quality, he leans in, asks questions, validates your feelings, and even offers a small perspective or piece of advice, without ever making it about himself. That kind of attention is rare, and it's magnetic because it shows emotional intelligence and intentionality. Psychologically, attentive listening signals respect, empathy, and patience. When someone listens well, it reduces stress and increases feelings of connection. Your brain literally responds to genuine attention with oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which makes you feel safe and cared for. So it's no wonder younger women are subconsciously drawn to men who have mastered this art. Another reason this quality is underrated is that it doesn't look like attraction in the typical Hollywood sense. There are no grand gestures, no dramatic proclamations, just quiet, consistent attention. But this consistency is what makes relationships last. A man who remembers the small things shows he's not only paying attention in the moment, but he's thinking of you even when you're not around. And here's a little secret. You'll start noticing this in other older men around you once you know what to look for. It becomes a pattern. Those who really care will naturally show it through their listening habits. So, what should you do if you notice this? First, appreciate it. A simple acknowledgement or gratitude goes a long way because older men often value genuine recognition of their efforts. Second, reciprocate. Attentive listening is a two-way street, and when you engage thoughtfully, it deepens the connection. Finally, consider it a benchmark for emotional maturity. If he listens well, chances are he's also consistent, thoughtful, and capable of handling deeper emotional conversations. In short, attentive listening is subtle, quietly powerful, and easy to overlook. But it's one of those qualities that make older men stand out in a way younger men often can't replicate. Once you experience it, you realize it's not just nice, it's transformational for how you feel in a relationship. The third underrated quality that younger women notice in older men is subtle humor, that effortless, lighthearted way of making you laugh without trying too hard. And this isn't the kind of loud, over-the-top joking you might see in younger men. It's quiet, clever, and deeply disarming, the kind of humor that makes you feel comfortable and relaxed around him. Picture this. You're having a stressful day, maybe your morning didn't go as planned, and he cracks a small, witty comment about something trivial, maybe about the office coffee or a minor mishap in your story. It's not a show, it's not a performance, but suddenly the tension lifts. You find yourself smiling, laughing, and feeling lighter. That's the kind of humor that builds a real connection, and older men often have it in abundance because they've learned not to take life too seriously while still staying grounded. Psychologically, humor is one of the strongest tools for emotional bonding. When someone can make you laugh, it triggers positive feelings, reduces stress, and creates a sense of safety. Older men who naturally integrate subtle humor into their interactions make women feel relaxed, appreciated, and entertained, all without putting on a performance or needing validation. That combination of confidence and lightheartedness is incredibly magnetic. Another key thing about this quality is that it's authentic. Younger men might try to be funny or perform to get attention, which often comes off as forced or desperate. Older men, however, usually don't feel the need to impress. Their humor is relaxed and natural, often self-deprecating, clever, or playful in a way that shows emotional maturity. It's the kind of humor that makes you feel like you could spend hours together without feeling drained. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're both stuck in traffic, running late, and feeling stressed. A younger man might complain, honk, or sigh dramatically. An older man with this quality? He might make a subtle joke about how the traffic plans to sabotage your entire day, maybe adding a funny observation about the cars around you. It's small, yes, but it instantly shifts the mood and makes you feel like you're in good company. What to do if you notice this? Appreciate it, because subtle humor is a sign of confidence and emotional intelligence. Don't overanalyze it, just enjoy it. And if you respond naturally, laugh, smile, or play along, it creates a loop of positive reinforcement that strengthens your connection. In short, subtle humor is underrated because it doesn't scream, "Look at me," but it speaks volumes about personality, emotional maturity, and relational intelligence. It's one of those small qualities that make older men stand out in ways that younger men, who may rely on louder or more performative tactics, often can't replicate. The fourth underrated quality in older men that younger women often notice is consistent effort and presence. This is one of those subtle traits that doesn't scream for attention but is incredibly telling about a man's character. It's not about grand gestures or over-the-top displays of affection. It's about showing up consistently, being reliable, and putting thought into the relationship day after day. Think about your experiences. Maybe you've dated someone younger who seemed exciting at first, but was unpredictable, sometimes attentive, sometimes distant, sometimes completely absent emotionally. Older men with this quality operate differently. They don't rely on excitement alone to keep your attention. They invest quietly and consistently, showing up in ways that matter without needing to prove themselves. Here's an example. He remembers small details you mentioned weeks ago, your favorite latte order, a project you're stressed about at work, or an event you've been looking forward to. He texts or calls not because he has to, but because he genuinely wants to check in. And over time, this consistent effort becomes incredibly attractive because it signals reliability, respect, and thoughtfulness. Psychologically, consistent presence creates trust and emotional security. It tells you that he's not just in the moment, but he's thinking about you even when you're apart. That kind of reliability is rare, and it builds a foundation for emotional intimacy that younger men, who are often less experienced in managing relationships, may struggle to provide. Another way this shows up is in social situations. Older men with this quality make an effort to be where it counts, at meaningful gatherings, important events, or even just being emotionally available when you need support. They don't overcommit or spread themselves thin just to impress. Instead, their presence is intentional, thoughtful, and noticeable in its consistency. Let's illustrate with a small scenario. Maybe you're moving apartments, and he offers to help without being asked. Or you're stressed about a deadline, and he checks in just to see how you're doing. It's not dramatic, it's not performative. It's simple, steady, and dependable. And over time, those small moments add up, creating a deep sense of appreciation and trust. So, what should you do if you notice this quality? Recognize it. Appreciate it openly if you feel comfortable. And remember that consistency is a sign of emotional intelligence, maturity, and genuine care, all things that make older men incredibly attractive in ways that go beyond surface-level attraction. In short, consistent effort and presence are subtle but powerful. They're not flashy, they're not loud, but they show emotional investment in real time. And when you experience this consistently, you begin to understand why older men with this trait feel fundamentally different, calmer, more reliable, and profoundly magnetic. The fifth and final underrated quality is how older men handle digital communication, texts, messages, and social media. And here's the thing, it's not about sending a million messages or constantly liking your posts. It's about thoughtful, intentional interactions that show they're thinking of you, even when you're apart. For example, he might remember a small detail you mentioned earlier in the week and follow up with a simple, personalized message, not "hey," but something meaningful like, "How did your presentation go today? I remembered you were nervous." It's a tiny gesture, but it feels personal, caring, and emotionally significant. Psychologically, these small digital touches signal presence and attentiveness. They show that even when he's busy, you're on his mind, and that builds emotional connection in ways that surface-level texting cannot. Younger men may overlook this, focusing more on casual messaging or short, generic replies. In today's dating world, these thoughtful digital cues matter more than ever. They convey respect, consistency, and genuine interest, which are incredibly attractive traits. And once you notice this pattern in an older man, it becomes obvious why women feel drawn to men who communicate with care, both in person and online. And there you have it, the 5 underrated qualities in older men that 98% of younger women notice, but often overlook. From emotional stability to attentive listening, subtle humor, consistent presence, and thoughtful digital communication, these traits may seem small individually, but together, they create a magnetic, grounded, and emotionally intelligent partner. If you've noticed these qualities in someone you know, or maybe in yourself, it's not a coincidence. These traits are rare, powerful, and make a real difference in how relationships feel. They go beyond looks, status, or surface-level charm, creating lasting emotional connections that younger men may not always be able to replicate. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these qualities have you noticed in an older man? Or maybe even in someone younger who surprised you? Comment below and share your experiences. I'd love to read them. Thanks so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'll see you next week for another deep dive into psychology, relationships, and the hidden signs that really matter.